Welcome back to the Bluegrass. It's a beautiful Sunday afternoon. Today we are talking about golden retrievers and whether or not a golden retriever might be right for your family situation. Okay. Now this is Walker and this is Bo. And you might say, well, Stoney, if they're both golden retrievers, why do they look so different? And that's going to be a big portion of what we're talking about today. As a general rule, your darker, more auburn colored dogs are going to be a little bit more on the field side, and your lighter dogs, almost white dogs, are going to be a little bit more on the show line side. And yes, that does affect, the dog's personality, its temperament, its energy level, okay, and how you go about training and managing it. Okay, so we'll walk both here on the course just to demonstrate that they're both capable of doing simple, basic obedience exercises about the same. Then we'll go out in the pre-adventure area, okay, and kind of walk around and we'll talk about the differences that I see in terms of the initial training period. And then we'll go over to my farm and we'll take a big adventure. And through all that, you can listen to me talk because I'll probably have some salient points, but mainly I just want you to watch the dogs, okay? You can always, with my videos, what you want to notice is that there's always a lot of dogs out. Everybody can talk. A lot of talking heads in the dog business, but what you want to do is watch the dogs. So throughout the video, I want you to watch the dogs and see what they do and see how I interact with them, and that's going to give you your best indication of whether or not a golden retriever might be right for you, and if a golden retriever is right for you, what type of golden retriever might be right for you. All right, so we'll start off with my normal basic obedience training, what I call my formal training, my school work that we do every day before we do fun stuff. All right, so, okay guys. Now, so this is what's known as a small challenges course, and this is where, I teach people how to influence dogs and where I teach dogs to be influenced, okay? So basically, what I do is I bring dogs out here when they first get here, and I make sure that I have the ability to explain to them, what I would like for them to do. Like get out of the way, and I try to make sure they understand that I always have a reason for the things that I'd like for them to do, and I want to make sure that they have a good physical base on which to go out in the real world and learn to navigate different environments. Okay, come on, Bo. Up. All right, so one of the things I see people do with their dogs is when they're puppies, they don't take the time to really develop the dog's proprioception, okay? So you have a puppy and you're working on sit and down and stand and things like that. And then what happens is you think, well, I'm gonna go to the lake, or I'm gonna go hiking, or I'm gonna go on vacation. And when you go, like you're just gonna take a hike like you've took for the last 20 years of your life. You have a new puppy that's never been in an off-camber position. They've never been faced with a log to go over. They've never had to go over a creek or get their paws muddy. In other words, they've never had to face any kind of physical impediments. Okay, now watch out, country. Come on, dog. So what we do with our initial training, come on, nerd, is we bring the dogs out and we put them in situations where they have to learn to use their body. What we call that is developing proprioception. Now, different kinds of dogs, they take to this initial training phases at different rates. They pretty much all get the exercises on lock eventually, but some of them it takes longer. Okay, so Bo, which is a real light colored golden retriever, a show-bred golden retriever, going to take a little longer. You can see he's a little bit less well balanced. Sometimes you might notice as he goes to to climb up on obstacles, he doesn't have a ton of strength to draw on, okay? And so we develop that strength, but more importantly, we teach the dogs to develop leverage, okay? And that's really the key. If you have a dog that's not super strong, not super athletic, then what you have to do is you have to teach the dog how to use their body more efficiently. Now, these darker, auburn-colored golden retrievers that we see, normally, now this isn't always, but normally, they're a lot more hard chargers, okay? Like these two here, you're gonna see when we go to the farm, and I might splice in some other footage from being over there other times, but you're gonna see this dog, he goes everywhere that this dog goes, but like he doesn't have quite as much energy output as he's going. And that might sound weird because you're like, well, Stoney, if they're going the same places, aren't they putting out the same amount of energy? No, they're not. Okay, so think about it like this. Let's say I'm gonna walk 1 mile in a straight line, okay? So if I'm walking 1 mile in a straight line and I have a show-bred golden retriever with me, back up there and show him that dog, cameraman. One of these days, I'm gonna make a video just about chocolate labs. Okay, so y'all just keep checking my channel for that. All right, but anyway, back to what I was saying. this dog, right, if I take a showbred golden retriever with me and I walk 1 mile, they'll generally kind of go a little ahead of me or a little behind me, but they're pretty close. These darker colored golden retrievers, as I walk a mile, they zigzag the whole time, okay? So they might walk, even though we're traveling 1 mile in a linear, form, like from point A to point B, they zigzag and they might walk 3 or 4 miles, okay? Which that is, hey, listen, that's awesome, long as you don't have to have them on a leash. Now if you have to have them on a leash, I'm going to tell you that there seems to be a pretty pronounced difference in the amount of time it takes to tire out these field-bred Goldens as compared to the show-bred Goldens, right? Okay, pretty much every time that I let Bo off the leash, then he's going to go find my daughter and he's just going to lay wherever she's laying and he's going to play with her, right? She might have something over there. He'll put stuff in his mouth. He'll get a stick and he'll, try to get her to throw it, but he doesn't want her to throw it far, 5-6 feet, something like that, But pretty much I know all day I don't have to worry about Bo getting into stuff. Walker, on the other hand, listen, he's into everything, right? And so like if I go in the kennel for a second and I come back out, almost always I'm going to find Bo with my daughter or with some of the older dogs just kind of laying around chilling, and I'm going to find Walker with my actual dogs, who are field-bred dogs, running and getting into stuff, right? And sometimes they get into the stuff that you want them to get into, and sometimes, just to be honest with you, they get into stuff that you don't want them to. Here, let me show them, cameraman. All right, so I'm going to give you a prime example. You see this jacket? See the pocket torn out of this jacket? How long did that take, cameraman? Maybe 2 minutes at the most, right? I left my jacket, I had some salmon in here, and I looked down, and a little field-bred lab that I have here had already chewed the whole pocket off my jacket. I mean, all I did was walked from one room to the other, wasn't paying attention, dog just got here. That's what you're gonna run into with these dogs. Now, with the lighter colored golden retrievers, what I see is if you leave them, unsupervised, of course, they're very oral and they'll kind of chew on stuff, but they're not big chewers like these guys. Not big chewers, not big runners. They're a lot easier to let kids manage. Like, I can let any kid walk that light colored golden retriever and the dog's completely compliant. With Walker, what he'll do a lot of times, he'll put the leash in his mouth and like he'll be pulling the kid around, okay? So that's kind of the basic thing. Let me see, camera, back up over there. I'll get up on the exam table. We'll give you, you know what, let me go over here to this other table. We'll get Bo back up here and we'll take a look at both of them from the side. Oh. Come on, Bo. Up. Very nice. Okay, so golden retriever A. This is Walker, and like he's pretty dark colored, kind of wavy coat. Now the great thing about this kind of coat is when we go out, like I mean, it's worse than a lab coat in terms of getting briars in it, cuckleburrs, things like that, but it's not real bad, okay? Pretty easy to manage in terms of cleaning them up. All I have to do when I take Walker out is I bring him home and I look here where these little feathery hairs are, make sure that there's nothing stuck under his ear. Sometimes their pads will have a little extra hair, okay? So I can do a cursory physical examination on them. Always, if you have a retriever, after you take them out, look in their mouth, because a lot of times they pick up sticks and stuff, and they'll end up with splinters in their mouth, and that can kind of turn into a mess. Run your hand over their spine, lift their tail, their privates, joints, toes, okay. But that's pretty good. This dog, like, is not far off of easy maintenance of my labs, okay? Like, I don't worry about him too much. Let me find Bo, though. Bo! Come here, Bo! Come on, you can do it! Oh my gosh, he's a very good dog. Now here comes Bo. Now one of the first things you notice is that Bo came up here with a stick and then Walker took his stick. Both of these types of golden retrievers are super oral dogs. And one of the things that people really like, now this is a Springer Spaniel, some people want me to make a video about him. One of the things that people really like about the showline golden retrievers is that, go on nerd, look, now this is what I'm talking about. See how he wants to be in, he can't just take his turn. So, but these showline golden retrievers is like, you'll be around your house, you come home from work, these guys show up at the door and they always have a plushie in their mouth and they wiggle, they go over to the toy box, they get their toys out one by one, they bring them to you. They're really awesome, in terms of making you feel good about yourself, making you feel loved. And that's why these dogs are such you know, such popular therapy and service dogs, okay? But it's kind of how he looks. But come up here, cameraman, let's show him, see if you can. You notice this hair. Field-bred lab. Okay, so you notice this hair is like a lot more fine. So down here, like these feathers on the back of their legs, under their ears, under their armpits on these light-colored golden retrievers, it's a lot more problematic in terms of getting them back in the truck and watching, you know, because you'll get little things in there. These lighter colored dogs, I also find their skin gets irritated a little bit more. A lot of them don't have a ton of pigment in their nose. Their nose will kind of get sunburned if you don't watch out. Hey, and then there's another kind of golden retriever. I don't have one out here right now that's like this, only their hair is angel hair fine. And I mean, those are basically impossible to do anything with. Every time we take them on an adventure, they just soak up mud and soak up dirt. And I mean, it just takes a long time to get them clean. And so we kind of discriminate against them. We basically just refuse to watch them in the, look, this is what I'm talking about, field trial labs, always into something, okay? But basically we discriminate against the superfine haired golden retrievers in the wintertime because it creates a lot of labor for us, okay? So those are just some factors for you to consider before we go out back and we can watch these dogs run around and play, and then we go over to the farm. What we're really doing here is we're coming out here and we're proofing these dogs so that we know that they understand the relationship between having access to freedom and paying attention to us. Okay, and we do it with a natural environment, but we also like to, because people email me and they said, Stonnie, you're always out in nature, but what about the other stuff that comes along? What about people, you know, joggers, other animals? Well, the other animals, they're out a lot, okay? A lot of places that we go, there's a lot of livestock and stuff. But so today what I did is I'm having George, my middle son, come out here and ride a motorcycle around, okay? And it gives us just another element. Because in a lot of natural places that you go, you're gonna run into joggers, you're gonna run into, you know, machinery. In Kentucky, you can swing on around here, cameraman. In Kentucky, almost everywhere you go, you're gonna find somebody on a side-by-side or on a four-wheeler or on a motorcycle. And so like that's just something that you want to throw in the mix. A lot of times I don't put that in the videos just because kind of, you know, the four-wheelers and stuff, but we do it so much I forget that for you guys, you got to be reminded. Here, Walker, here, Bo. Bo, come on. Now, so I want you to see Walker comes back a little faster. Now, when you watch Bo, he's coming back little slower, okay? And then as George comes by us, hey George, you can come on by. As George comes by us, then I'm just gonna let these dogs kind of investigate the motorcycle. And then there's some of them will probably follow him. They like George. And I'll let them go a little ways and I'll try to call them back. Walker, Bo! And this is what I really like about golden retrievers. Very nice. Is that they like their people, right? And it doesn't take long to convince them that you're part of their people. Some dogs, they come here, they can stay here weeks and still not really identify with me and Charlotte and George and the cameraman as their people. Weimaraners can be tough. German Shepherds can be really, really tough. You know, a lot of times I say with the German Shepherds, they come here and they look at me like I've kidnapped them, not like I run a fancy private school for dogs. But with the golden retrievers, they like to go party with just about everybody. So whether you get a field-bred golden retriever or more of a show-bred golden retriever, you're pretty much for sure going to get a dog that likes people. So the big difference is going to be kind of in the coat care characteristics. Like, don't you think a lot more stuff gets in Bo's coat that we have to get out?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, almost never have to fool with that with Walker. Now, well, we'll go down there in a second, cameraman. You want to go ahead and back up that way? All right, now, so George is over there running around, but these golden retrievers are staying with me. Now, the real super athletic dogs, a lot of times, they'll go ahead and do 2 or 3 laps with the four-wheeler or the motorcycle, you know, like the short hairs. Short hairs love to follow four-wheelers and motorcycles, okay? And it almost takes, a four-wheeler or a motorcycle to exercise, you know, a hunting German short hair. That's kind of the way it goes. Dun, 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 dun. So George is going to make a couple of laps here, and you'll see we've got almost all of our dogs back. But what will you notice? What you notice is that all of these dogs are bred to stay close except the Jack Russell, okay? The Jack Russell, we might lose him for a few minutes. All the rest of these dogs, they're gonna be in and out of the frame all the time. Look at this, what a nice group of dogs. Now another thing that should give you confidence when you go out with your dogs is once that tongue starts hanging out, we call it a fatigue meter. Once that tongue starts hanging out, then you pretty much know that you're not going to have to deal with any issues where they make a concentrated effort to get away or get into stuff. Very good. Now see all of this? I really want to make the point, guys, when you're out walking, it's tempting to walk your dog just where you're walking, okay? Hey, Charlotte, go up there and talk to George for a minute and tell him to meet us at the brush pile. One of the things I really want to make a point of, when I'm walking these dogs, you notice that there's a kind of a mowed path here, okay? I do that because it kind of guides the dogs. If they get away from me and start running, they kind of run in circles and end up finding me, so it makes me look kind of magic. But another reason I do it is because people come out here, very few people that come here wear the right kind of clothes, and so they can get out and they can get scratched with the briars and the sticks and stuff. So I make it convenient. And when you go to the park or whatever, you make it, they make it convenient for you to be on the trail, okay? But this is not where the fun stuff happens. Over here, over there, under the trees, in the creek, that's where all the fun stuff happens. So, if you're out with the children or if you're out with dogs, don't try to keep them on the well-worn trail. Encourage them to get off and explore. And the more they explore when they're young, then the less you're going to have to worry about them going and exploring things that they don't understand at a later and more vulnerable stage of life, And you might say, well, Stonnie, I thought being a puppy, I thought that's when they're vulnerable. No, because puppies aren't super brave. They're not going to get themselves in a ton of trouble. It's the pubescent dogs, the late adolescent dogs that really get themselves in trouble. And so if I bring a 9 or 10 or 12-month-old dog out here and I don't have any mentor dogs with me, those are the ones that I have to watch and I have to worry about running off and getting in trouble, That's why we keep the mentor dogs around, and that's really why we encourage people to start early. Hey, dogs! Now this right here, this is the point of all our formal work at the kennel. Attention span, impulse control, responsiveness, that's what makes us able to come out to the pre-adventure area. And the pre-adventure area, it's pretty wild, but it's not wild like my farm, as you're going to see in a few minutes. Okay, and so your schoolwork, your formal work, that prepares you for your neighborhood adventures, okay? And your neighborhood adventures, they prepare you for your big time adventures where you're on vacation or you're going hunting or you're going on a big hike or something along those lines. Come on, dogs! All right, now notice that I'm not making any efforts to micromanage the dogs. And as I'm walking, I'm carrying myself with a lot of confidence, okay? This is another problem that I see consistently out of people who are trying to take their dogs out into high distraction environments, is the people are nervous, and the nervousness, it affects their ability to influence their dogs. The more time you spend practicing influencing your dogs, well, the better you're going to be at it. So just always remember that. You want to put them in situations where they can really test boundaries at a young age, and you can learn to be. Back to what I was saying, is that nervousness when you go out into the real world, that affects your ability to manage your dog safely, okay? So you got to go out and you got to do things that test your comfort level and help you learn to be resilient in tough situations. One of the things that we do here all the time, okay, this is just a brush pile, and this just comes from property maintenance. We have a lot of windstorms here, and it's always blowing down trees, or we got grapevines that grow up and stuff, and we pull them out. So we're always working on this grapevine. And this grapevine, for me, is just another version of my Small Challenges course up at the kennel. Now, the Small Challenges course is formal training because I have a kind of a standard regimen of activities that we do, and then we do that so we can gauge success. With the brush pile challenge, okay, it's always changing. Sometimes this brush pile is big, sometimes it's little, sometimes it's wet, sometimes it's cold. So it's always changing, right? And then that variance in the obstacle, it makes it you know, like really good for the dogs, because every time the dog sees the brush pile, it's just a little bit different. Maybe not a lot different, but a little bit different. Okay, all right, Charlotte, you go up this way a little ways. It's also good for training children.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, now what do we see up here right off the bat? Of course, black lab, because all dogs want to be labs, all labs want to be black. Let's see if we can get these golden retrievers up here. Walker, come on, Walker. Come on, Walker, you can do it. Come on, Bo. Yes, I know you can do it. Come on, Bo, you can do it. Come on. Come on, dogs, you're very smart dogs. Now see that little bit difference in the kind of dogs they are. The red one, a little bit more athletic, and that kind of applies across the board. Bo, he's the same mentally in terms of like his basic personality. He loves people, he loves to do things, he likes to have things in his mouth. I would say that the big difference is he's not as strong, he's not as fast, he doesn't have as much endurance, right? But also what goes along with that is he's not near as likely to get himself into trouble, okay? He's a little bit more reserved. He likes children a little bit more. Like this dog here is really gravitates, give him some love, Charlie. He really gravitates towards children, kind of likes old people too, you know? Like he likes for people that'll just sit around and pet on him and love on him. Like Walker, you notice he got up here and he's just investigating. He's seeing what's in the brush pile. Bo got up here just to see like how close to me he could get. And that's kind of, I think across the board, pretty much how it works out. Oh, don't you think, Charlotte?
Yeah.
All right. So what we do here is we just kind of fiddle around, learn to keep our footing. Ah, you gonna fall? No. Come on, Walker, climb back up here, Come on. You can do it. Bo says I'm already up here, boss. Come on, Walker. Walker's kind of got himself stuck. Oh, come on. There we go. Get up here. And look at that Springer Spaniel. I know you guys are going to see that Springer Spaniel and go, Stonnie, what about Springer Spaniels? I actually have a lot of old videos with Springer Spaniel in them named Floyd. He was pretty good. It's a pretty good dog too. Okay, so that's kind of what we do in our pre-adventure area. The fact that the dogs stayed with me and the fact that the dogs all like made a good effort. Watch out there, Freckles. Made a good effort at navigating the brush pile challenge with confidence, and it showed me that they have pretty decent proprioception. They're willing to try to overcome impediments. Oh my gosh, there you go. Okay, that lets me know that I'm ready to take them out to our actual adventure area. We got a super awesome farm, and that's where we'll be headed next. Very nice. Okay. All right, let's head to the farm, guys. Oh my gosh, very good job, good job. Come on, dogs. Okay, we made it over to the farm, and now we're going to do my favorite type of adventuring, which is a creek walk. Okay, and you might say, Stonnie, why do you like creek walks so much? I feel like walking around water always gives you your best bang for the buck in terms of early socialization. And the reason I think that is because when you go to a creek or a river or a pond or even just a watershed, you're going to get a wide variety of sights and smells and sounds and textures and even temperatures, okay? Like we're out here in the field and it's one temperature. We're going to get over in the shady creek and it's going to be a little colder. The water in the shady creek is going to make it even colder. And then as the dogs get more and more wet, well, of course, they're going to get colder. In the summertime, that works really good to cool down a hot dog. And in the wintertime, what you're looking for is you're looking for simple acclimation, right? I mean, that's really important. If you want to be able to take a dog out and do a lot of adventuring with it later on in life, while it's a puppy, you have to expose it to a broad range of physical conditions so nothing shocks it and makes it unable to stay focused and attentive later on when you're out on a real adventure. Okay, so we're going to walk on over here and get in the creek. Now, notice what these dogs are doing. This guy over here has got him a stick. Okay, this guy over here is wet and he's come out here and he's rolling around. You got to let your dogs roll around and you have to let them play with sticks, guys. Now on this walk, you know, there's horses that come out here. There's a lot of deer out here, a lot of turkeys. These dogs are probably going to find some, you know, some excrement, and they're gonna eat it, and they're gonna roll in it. And they're gonna, you know, I'm not gonna yell at them. I'm not gonna fuss at them. Okay, I want them to get that out of their system. The more that you let them, like, just be dogs while they're young, the less problems you're going to have later on. So mainly, what we're going to be doing here is just a, you know, kind of a structured version of follow the leader. I'm going to just keep an eye on the dogs. I'm going to make sure they kind of follow me along. I'm going to lead the activities, but I am not going to try to micromanage. And you'll notice that shows up in my videos a lot. I'm really big into not micromanaging. Now, so Walker, the darker colored golden retriever, he's already off in the creek. I don't know if you can see it back there very well, but Bo is just laying down, chewing on a stick, right? So I'm gonna have to get Bo fired up here. Come on, Bo. Now, if he was just out here with me, oh my gosh, here comes Walker. If Bo was just out here with me, he would be perfectly happy to watch me work on my cabin, or watch me mow, or watch me weed eat, or work on the trails. And I wouldn't even really have to worry about him. With these light colored golden retrievers, I bring them out here, I let them run around for 5 or 10 minutes, and then I don't even pay any attention to them. The darker colored golden retrievers and my field labs, they're off, you know. I mean, they're off in the creek, they're climbing the rock face, they're just into everything, okay? So from a dog trainer's perspective, like if you're trying to get a dog to do lots of stuff, you need a dog that wants to do lots of stuff every day. But from a regular pet owner's perspective, it's kind of one of those things where you have to be honest with yourself in terms of how many things per day do you actually want your dog to do. It has been my experience that people really don't want their dogs to do a whole lot. They want the dogs to be excited for about 5 or 10 minutes at a time, and then they just want them to relax and not bother anything the rest of the day. But some of you like to get out and do interesting things. So you just have to make sure that you understand this simple rule about dog training. Being happy with a dog is about having met expectations. So make sure that your expectations are in line with the type of dog that you get. And when I say type, I don't mean just the breed, okay, but the bloodline. So you want to write your expectations down, you want to communicate with breeders, and you want to explain to them what you expect out of the dog over the next 10 years, okay? And breeders are pretty good at making sure their puppies go to the right homes. Most of the problems that I see arise when people aren't honest with themselves, which leads to them not being honest with breeders. And then when they find themselves in a position where the puppy doesn't fit into their lifestyle, they oftentimes externalize that blame onto the breeder, when really it was kind of an owner problem from the beginning, because they had kind of an idealized version of what their life with the puppy was going to be like. Now, earlier in the video, I was talking about zigzagging, and you'll notice that No Name does a lot of zigzagging. Annie, No Name's sister, she does a tremendous amount of zigzagging. Walker does a fair amount of zigzagging, and Bo does the least zigzagging, okay? When you're out walking a lot of dogs, like I am on a regular basis, by having the dogs off the leash in you know, this kind of environment, it's very easy for all of the dogs to self-regulate, okay? So when you're watching this video, it might seem like Bo and Walker are kind of doing the same things, but I want you to re-watch it, okay, and understand how often you see Bo take more steps, or you see Walker take more steps than Bo. He's constantly in the creek and out of the creek. He's constantly up the hill and down the hill, okay, where Bo is pretty much always here by where I am. Okay, now we're going to get in the creek, and we're going to do a tremendous amount of environmental socialization in a relatively short period of time. Now, the first thing that I want you to notice in the creek is that, I mean, just within a few feet, I've got, like, look at that dust and crinkly leaves, okay? I've got all kinds of little trees and broken pieces of wood in various stages of decay, which leads to a lot of different types of off-gassing, a lot of different kinds of odors. There's all kinds of different bugs that live in these trees and in this debris that's scattered along the creek bank. There's cute little flowers, and all these little flowers are very fragrant. There's sandy mud, right? Okay. We got tons of rocks. Some of these rocks are sharp. Most of them are rounded off from being in the creek for a million years. And then we've got some water of varying depths. Okay, some of this water is just deep enough to get on the dog's pads. Some of it's going to get up to their chest. Some of it they're going to have to swim. And then over here to the left, or your right, we have a rock face. Now I really like using rock faces where they meet creeks and rivers to socialize dogs, because the dogs have to learn to be very careful in how they navigate these low traction environments. Because in these rock faces here, there's lots and lots of broken off, I think this is limestone, but what happens is the dogs, when they first start coming out here, they'll place their foot somewhere and then the rock will slide off. Well, I want them to learn about sliding rocks while we're on a controlled walk. I don't want them to learn about that when we're in the middle of a week-long or 2-week-long vacation, okay? A lot of the people that I work for, the reason they hire me is they only get one good big vacation a year. And so they want to make sure that when they go on that vacation that they're properly prepared and their dogs are going to be able to hike and boat and do various outdoor activities safely. One of the big things is just simple campfire safety. That's something people around here take for granted, having a dog that knows not to stick their nose in a campfire. But not in the world of suburbia. Now look what a wonderful socialization experience this is. We have an old tree down, we have water, the dogs are having to navigate the water, they're smelling this tree. One of the things that you'll start to see is the general inquisitiveness of the dogs. Out of all these dogs right now, Annie is young and she's full of life, full of energy, so she does the most exploring. Walker is second. No Name has been out here so many times that he's got that out of his system and he pretty much just follows me around with a stick. And Bo stays pretty close just because that's the kind of dog Bo is. I'll spend a little time in the creek and then I'll get out of the creek and I'll find something to do. A lot of times people will email me and they'll say, well, Stonnie, I don't have a great adventure farm like you do. How can I get my dogs out and do the proper socialization? Guys, you have to understand that everywhere you go for your dog, it's fun. Just a little trip to a drainage ditch right there in your neighborhood. That's like going to Africa. I say it all the time. Now look, I have a little downed tree right here. So I'm gonna see if I can't get one of the dogs to come up here and work on the proper foot placement. Can you see what they're doing there? Swimming with the, see, that's the deep water, so they're having to swim. Come here, Walker. Walker, come on. I'm gonna give Walker just a little bit of practice walking on a log. Just get a few steps in. Very nice. I'll give Bo a few steps. Good. Now I got a bigger tree up here that we walk on. Very nice. Now notice I'm not making a big deal out of it. I'm just letting them put their feet on the log. Their feet are slipping off the log, and their feet slipping off the log factors into what we call learning by doing, okay? You don't need to come out here and really try to teach everything. What you need to do is come out here and be a director so that you help your dog learn to look for opportunities to build their own their own ability to navigate impediments in the environment. Okay, you want them to come out and you want them to look for challenges. Challenges are what creates stress, and stress is what leads to adaptation. Very nice. Now look how Walker has a tendency to charge through the deeper parts of the water a little more than Bo. Bo is a little bit more gingerly with his foot placement, a little bit more reserved. Here's a nice little deep spot. Look at No Name. He goes right over there in the deep spot looking for something to bring me to throw. Annie, you see Annie zigzagging the whole time? Annie's always looking for opportunities to hunt something up. One of the things you'll notice with Bo is how oral he is. Like if we get ourselves in a situation where he's not sure what to do, he'll oftentimes pick up a stick, and that's kind of a self-soothing thing that these showbred golden retrievers do. Whenever they get nervous, whenever they get excited, whenever they get really happy, they have a tendency to carry things around. That's why so many people they love them when they come home from work. The showbred golden retrievers are notorious for like coming to you with a plushy toy, then you take it and you play with it for a second, and you try to put it up, they go to the toy box, they get another plushy toy. They really like soft toys. Okay, now here's a little bit bigger tree. So I'm gonna let the cameraman come up this way a little bit. Okay, now this is one of my favorite obstacles, this log right here. And so what I like to try to do is I like to try to walk the log, and then I like to try to have the dogs follow me. Every year it seems to be getting harder and harder for me to walk this log, you know. But I'm gonna keep trucking as long as I can. I might cheat a little bit. And if I've done a good job with my training at the kennel, these dogs are gonna at least make an effort to negotiate this obstacle. Now I don't really expect them to be able to walk this at this age, but I do expect them to make an effort. Come here, Walker. Come on. We'll see if Walker can come down from the other side. Come on, dude. Come on, come on. Come on, you can do it. Now Walker has found something that he thinks is more interesting than Uncle Stonnie. So we'll go over here and see what he's doing. Now don't get frustrated with him. Like I called Walker right then, and like he was over here doing something, he didn't come right to me, and then he started trying to come to me, and he decided that like it was hard to figure out how to get over here. Like there's nothing wrong with that, guys. Like people always, Walker, come on, you can do it. People always try to give you this illusion that you're gonna go out in the world and your dog is always gonna pay attention to you 100%. When look, Walker has found something that he likes to do, and it's gonna be a little bit hard to encourage him to get away from rolling in those leaves. So we're just gonna put a little bit of effort into it. Come on, nerd. Okay, remember this is supposed to be a cooperative endeavor. Good boy. Come on, Walker, you can do it. Come on. Very nice. Now, if I would have made the mistake right then of, fussing at Walker for not coming, well, then I would have taken a really fun and positive learning opportunity, and I would have messed it up by trying to be too much of a hardcore disciplinarian, Instead, I was patient, and I just kind of tried to be a little bit insistent. And then after he got done rolling, he was like, oh, that's right, Stonnie wants me, and Stonnie does cool stuff. And so he came right over here, and he ended up getting on the log, And so I took a moment where, like, I didn't get perfect obedience. And instead of letting that lack of perfect obedience getting in the way of my training session, I just was persistent, and I ended up getting some valuable work in. Very nice. Oh my gosh, very good dogs. Now I'm gonna go over here, and I'm gonna kind of go up the same little route where Walker was like rolling, and we'll see if I can like encourage him to follow me through that area. Oh, one of the things that's really important is when you have problems with something, you want to identify the problem and work through it. So instead of avoiding this area, I'm going to go right through it again. I'll see if there's something interesting. Heck, I might find something that I think's interesting over there. Cameraman, you can go ahead and go up that way a little bit. Come on around this way. Come on, Walker. So look, I'm going to call Walker right up to this spot where I was, where he was digging and rolling. And then I'm going to look in here and see what's going on. And I don't see, oh, yeah, I see what it is. There's some poop up here. Listen, with young dogs, when you're out, you're just gonna lose a few battles to poop, right? I know it's gross, I know it's tough to talk about, but that's the truth. And so he was up here, and he wanted to eat a little poop, and he wanted to roll around a little poop, so he had some natural perfume on. And it took him a minute to decide that he had enough perfume on, and he was ready to do something with me. Now look at Annie. What's she doing? She's getting a stick, and she's saying, that's enough talking, Stonnie. Let's go ahead and get to working. All right, now we'll come off this rock face. Oh my gosh. Take off walking. Now right here, this is where you'll be out hiking and you won't know, but if you're not careful, you'll pass up some of the most valuable environmental socialization that you can do, and that's walking along a rock face. Okay. Now, right here, I got to tell you, this is for professionals only. My advice is do not do this. This is only for trained adventure dog trainers. Okay. So if you get hurt, don't be saying it was my fault. All right, now, so look, I'm just going to walk along here, and Walker's here. Bo, come on, Bo. Let's see if we can get Bo back over here for a second. Come on, Bo. Very nice. Now again, what you'll see, look, the two more adventuresome dogs. Come on, Bo, you can do it. And Bo's being a little bit hesitant. He's not sure if he wants to get over here, across the deep water. But there he comes. Very nice. Very good dogs. Okay, so I'll take off walking again. Oh, that's very good dogs. I wish I had a way to really show you like what it's like to walk up here. I need some kind of 3D camera or something. Oh, but this right here will really teach you how to look for proper foot placement, okay? And it's really good for dogs. Let me get Walker back over here. So as we walk along this rock face, what I want you to notice is that it gets harder as we go. Come on, Walker, you can do it. Very nice. Come on. Oh my gosh. Now, as we get up here, there's more and more broken rocks. And sometimes I'll lose the dogs here because they'll be like, well, Stonnie, you know, that's hard to walk up there with all those loose rocks. And that's okay. They get a little better at it every time they come. Very nice. Sometimes you got to kind of stop and sweeten the pot a little bit. Here, boys. Hey, Walker. A little extra good treat for you. Little extra good treat for you. Now, look, we're getting into a whole boulder field here. Now, one of the things I want to warn you about is you do not, you know, just go out and find things like this to do without, you know, quite a bit of preparatory work. The dogs have to have a basic understanding of how to distribute their weight. They have to have a basic understanding of traction differentials in the environment. And they have to have a, you know, a pretty good and consistent habit of paying attention to you when like they're in a high distraction environment, okay? Because off the leash here, like these dogs could be going off and doing a lot of things, and I can't move super fast, you know. I have to be careful myself. These golden retrievers are pretty easy dogs to do this stuff with because they're just so naturally compliant, whether it's a field version or it's a show version. Very nice. Good boys. Oh my gosh, good dogs. Call them up here, maybe give a couple of good treats. Very nice. Now notice No Name's not really coming over here to get any treats, and Andy's not really looking for any treats. One of the things people ask me about when they see me training dogs and they see me, you know, rewarding them a lot, they're like, Stonnie, would you always have to like carry the food around? I'm like, no. Young dogs just go through a period of their life where they need kind of consistent affirmation, right? And the treats really serve as a physical manifestation of your pleasure, more so than like the dogs are doing these things for calories, okay? And then as they get older, you know, dogs are like people. They need less and less, you know, encouragement because most of the patterns that, you know, the dogs find enjoyable are intrinsically or internally rewarded, you know. Adherence to patterns is just naturally rewarding. Okay, all right, now I can come off of this rock bank a little bit, get back in the creek. Very good dogs. Now again, notice Bo is pretty close to me and Walker is up here zigzagging a lot. All right, now I think what we'll do next is I'll run up to the van and I'll get my waders and we'll get in the water and let these guys swim a little bit. Come on, dogs. Oh, let's go swimming. Okay, now we're up at my waterfall, so it's going to be a little loud. But what I'd like to do is just get down the waterfall and walk around the water and have these golden retrievers kind of follow me down. I might have to use a long line to get them in here. This waterfall, it kind of makes some dogs nervous in the beginning. They did pretty well the last time I brought them though. Now as always, I got these fantastic mentor dogs, you know. All dogs want to be labs. All labs want to be black. All golden retrievers want to be labs. Come on. Now, this is not going to surprise me if Walker comes down first. Come on, Walker. Come on, Bo. So I'm a big proponent of like leading by example, right? Which is why when I'm teaching a dog to swim, I like to get in here and do the work with them. But again, this requires patience. What I did yesterday was I started them off with a long line, and today I'm just going to kind of see, you know, if they'll work hard to get over here. Come on. Now that's Bo, he's barking a little bit. Come on, come on. Come on, you can do it. Come on, you can do it. All right, back up over there in that corner, cameraman, because I'm going to have to go. All right. Come on. Come on, babies. You can do it. A lot of times, if you're having trouble with something, it's just a matter of changing where you're standing in relation to the natural obstacle. So, like where I was standing, I was standing kind of close to the waterfall, and then even when I was sitting down, I was pretty close to the waterfall. And remember, I told you, some of the dogs, they get a little bit nervous about the noise. And so I moved down here, and the dogs were able to come down and find a little closer entry, one that suited them a little better at their given confidence level. Now what we see here again is the more confident, more outgoing field golden, which is a good thing, right? Okay, if you need a confident, outgoing dog that's into everything. We have the more reserved, kind of more cautious showbred golden, right? Who's not going to get himself into as much trouble. Come on, you can do it. You're a good boy. Come on, come on. Oh, I know you can do it. You're a smart boy. Come on. Come on, come on. And it's not that Bo's not going to do it. It's just that it's going to be a little hard for him. See, now what he's doing here is he's looking for an entry into the water that suits him. And you don't always know what that's going to be. Oh my gosh, come on, dude. You can do it. I might walk over here and sit down for a second. Look at everybody having fun, dude. You want to come party, don't you? There he comes. Come on, you can come party. Come party. Very nice. Oh, you're a very good dog. Oh my gosh. Ah. You're a very good dog. All right, now, kind of walk around over here for a minute. Then I'll go back in the deep part. And what I'm doing is I'm just steadily working myself over here, kind of closer to the waterfall. Come on, Cautious. Come on, Cautious, you can do it. Now, if I get too far away from him, he's liable to go to where the cameraman is. Oh my gosh, come on. Come on, you can do it. Very nice. Oh, perfect. And you see he's going away from the noise. He's going away from the waterfall. So we'll have to kind of move back over there and do that again. So back on up a little bit, cameraman. I'm going to call him back. Oh, very nice. Come on, Walker. Oh, gonna give him some love. Oh, gonna give him lots of love. Give this guy some love. Oh, we're going to try it again. Come on, come on. Come on, you can do it. Come on, come on. Oh my gosh, come on. Come to me, don't go that direction. Oh, come steer him this way. Watch out, boys. There we go. And what I need him to understand is that I'm not going to put him in a situation where things don't work out. But you see, every time I'm getting him a little closer to the waterfall, then he goes back to what he considers safety, you know. Come on, come on. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. Come on, Bo. He went, there he comes. Oh, he's a smart boy. He's a smart boy. All right, we're gonna do one more rep. Come on. Not you. Hey, come on, Bo, you can do it. Come on. I know you can do it. Come on. Oh, I'll come over here and love on you if you'll do it. Oh. Oh my gosh. Very good dog. You're a very good baby. You're very good. Come on. Okay, so when you're doing dog training, you always have to try to end on a positive repetition. So what I'm going to take from this lesson is that for me to end my session on a positive repetition, I'm going to have to stay a little bit farther away from the waterfall. Okay, so cameraman, you back on up, and we'll mark this. We got to about right there, had some success. I'm going to make it a little easier on him so that he leaves with a good feeling about himself. He leaves with confidence, and then tomorrow we'll try to work ourselves a little closer to the waterfall. Yeah, there we go. He's got that mastered. Very nice. Very good dogs. Very good. Okay, we'll call that a success. All right, well, listen, that brings us to an end of Golden Retriever. Is it right for you? Like I said earlier in the video, pay a little attention to what I said because I do know a fair bit about dogs. But mainly I just want you to watch the dogs, watch how they move around, watch their energy levels, watch their overall athleticism, watch how they get along with the other dogs. And if you see something you like, contact some breeders and send them a written list, a written overview of your lifestyle and a list of your short and long range goals. And that's going to help you and the breeder start off on a good footing where everybody understands what's expected, and that's really the key to success, guys. All right, so I'll see you next week, and maybe we'll do a Springer Spaniel video.